They say opposites attract.
Well, how about these opposites? Daddies and sons.
You're listening to Daddy and Son.
A podcast where we explore the dynamics of daddy and son relationships, multi-generational views,
And everything else in between.
Wants to hurt me. And the bitch don't even know me. I hope that they beat her ass. Some of the women in prison beat her ass every day for as long as she's in there.
Some people might say that's harsh.
Well, so what she did to me was even worse. I'm supposed to feel sorry for that bitch. I don't.
And yes, in the words of a great old lady, am I supposed to be feeling sorry for this bitch? Because no, I don't. And who it is that I don't feel sorry for this week is Chad the Builder.
Chad?
By chance, have you seen this Chad the Builder fiasco?
I was going to ask you, what's that all about?
So
Is this something you hear about on Reddit only?
no, actually, again,
Chad the Builder?
you won't hear about him in The Economist or The Atlantic, probably in the New York Times.
Well, I do read
'cause
the New York Times.
It is quite fringe. But Chad the Builder is an up-and-coming, I want to call him an up-and-coming right-wing influencer in the United States, white nationalist or proud white nationalist, who rose to prominence late last year, early this year, because he was going around harassing black people, going into black spaces, particularly schools and restaurants and even health centers, and calling people nigger to their face. And saying when they would react, he would say, "Oh, look at them chimping out," and then he would make monkey noises. I would say this is surprising, but it's not shocking. It really isn't. It seems like a lifetime ago. I know it does seem like a lifetime ago with everything that's going on. But lest we forget, it was just February of this year that Trump had posted Michelle Obama and Barack Obama as apes while he was a lion in the jungle. So this overt racism in the United States the fish does rot from the head. And this is something that I think people are more emboldened to do. So it wasn't a surprise when the news came out yesterday that Chad the Builder, he was arrested for attempted murder, because not only would he go around and harass these people, but when they would retaliate asking him to get out their face, he would either spray them with bear mace or put his gun to their head.
I heard about that. I didn't know that was Chad the Builder. I didn't put the
Yeah,
two together.
that's him.
Okay. I heard about that incident.
That's him.
Oh.
So he's
Weirdo, though, eh? Like, weird.
He is a
weirdo.
complete weirdo.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
why are we even paying attention to this?
Well, here's the thing. Paying attention is, I think, it's not the right choice of words.
True.
It's more like
Why is it news?
being aware that people like this out there with millions of followers, apparently, he started a GoFundMe for his legal bills, and apparently he only intended to get 300,000. It's closer to he's surpassed that. It's now almost double.
But let's face it, racism is still alive in America.
It is quite sad, and here's the thing: I don't just necessarily think that this is quite uniquely an American situation, because we have the Proud Boys here in Canada, so which is kind of bled into American culture as well. Proud Boys, which is our version in Canada of the KKK, it kind of bled into American culture as well. somewhat, it's like the Olsen twins. I can't tell the difference between them. In any case, I don't feel sorry for that bitch. I hope they throw the book,
The key away.
all the way up his ass. I hope he never comes out behind bars. And I hope anybody else who's like him also gets thrown behind bars, because harassing people also is a crime, lest we forget. When it gets, it's bad when Nick Fuentes comes out and says, I don't believe anybody should be put in jail for calling anyone the N-word, but I don't believe that you should be going up to people and calling them niggas if they find it offensive. Nick Fuentes said that. When Nick Fuentes...
I don't think people should be fired for uttering the word. And I think it's a funny word. I don't think it should be treated like a blasphemy. But let's be honest, it's not a nice thing to say. It's actually not a very nice thing to say. And I don't know that we should actually be out there saying, hey, man, we should be able to go up to black people and start blasting a slur that offends them without expecting them to be offended.
That sounds contradictory.
Who is a white nationalist comes out and says that to you. It's like Amy Winehouse coming to you and tapping you on the shoulder and saying, hey, honey, you're drinking too much. It's shocking. It is quite shocking.
Well,
so that's to tell you how really fringe this guy is. Like really off base.
He's fringe, but my point about racism in America, look at the Supreme Court decision on the Voting Rights Act a couple of weeks ago. That's basically opening up the door to taking
I was gonna do a whole. I actually was going to do a whole podcast this week on the Voting Rights Act and the parallels between that, what happened in Virginia, what's happening in Louisiana, and also what happened here in Ontario, where the Supreme Court told Doug Ford that he should release the information that he uses for government. For government interactions on his personal phone, and he went twice actually. The Supreme Court ruled that he had to release that information. And what did he do? Sneak and got an exemption for his office to the Freedom of Information Act. So for me, it's like I'm seeing parallels where the voices of the people are being ignored. And this is beyond racism, and that's why I consider it the voices of the people.
But at least the court in Canada sided with what was justice or the appropriate. In the United States, it's gone the other way. The Supreme Court there has basically set them back. In terms of
back to let's call it what it is, Jim Crow era.
Yeah, almost.
Let's call it what it is.
There's a great the New Yorker had or the Atlantic, one or the other. I listened to a great podcast this morning on two lawyers talking about this. I'll flip it to you later because it's really, really good.
I was going to do a whole podcast breakdown about this, but I decided to just stay away from it because this is something that I'm very passionate about, and it angers me. I mean, this is stupid. Why the way the gerrymandering and all that stuff? It's a whole big topic, and we're both interested in this. But yes, you should do it. I hope the Democrats do win the primaries. Georgia is coming up. They're not primaries, the midterms. It's
going to be
Georgia
close.
Is coming up next week.
It's going to be a lot closer than it would have been.
People need to get out. If you are an American and you're listening and you're in the South, please get out, vote. This is one of the most people. We said this back in 2025. Oh, this is going to be one of the most consequential elections in modern history.
Oh yeah,
and people still didn't listen. They chose the couch. Don't make the same mistakes again.
They chose the couch in 24 and then get out and vote.
Yeah,
because they were pissed with the Democrats. They didn't like
in 24, and look what happened. Project 2025 came to fruition. So I'm not gonna be here. I'm sick and tired of preaching about the importance of civic duty. I have friends both in the U.S. and here in Canada who do not vote, not only at the federal level, but also at the municipal level. They completely ignore it, but they're the first to always complain about Chow. They're the first to always complain about the province. And I'm just like, But you told me straight up that
You
you
don't
didn't even vote.
In Australia, it's mandatory to vote.
And a federal crime.
Yeah, I don't know if that applies.
It is
at
a
the
federal
municipal
crime
level,
to not vote in Australia. And I do think that we need to start applying the same restrictions here, because people don't understand that, especially when they talk about black people. They died. People died for the right for black people to, our ancestors died for the right to be able to vote in America.
Mm-hmm.
And not only were black people beneficiaries of this, but women were beneficiaries of this. It opened the floodgates for all other forms of civil rights or human rights topics or subject matters, including gay rights, including immigration, including so many things. So it pisses me off when people are not going out and exercising the civic duty and pretending as if this was just like 200 years ago. Bitch, you were alive when this was happening.
Mm-hmm. I remember the riots in Detroit and
So when people are behaving as
Chicago.
if, oh, this was racism that your grandpappy experienced is not the same racism that happened today, so we don't need any laws, for that helps to give people a voice, help give black people a voice. Well, why don't we just do away with bestiality laws and homicide laws as while we're at it? Since crime is down and homicide is down and bestiality is down, should we just do away with those laws? You see the cognitive dissonance of the these 6 snow roaches. You see the cognitive dissonance.
I don't quite see the view the way you do, but I agree.
But that was what Clarence Thomas said. Yes, and fuck him, because I'm considering him a snow roach as well. That's what he wrote in his dissertation. Basically, that the racism of yesteryear doesn't exist today, so there's no necessity to the law. His words.
Yeah, they basically said, states, you do it, you fix it, and guess what? Those southern states have stepped in, and they're basically eliminating all the black
immediately.
votes.
Like people in Louisiana had already voted. Veterans had already voted. People who had done mail-in vote had already submitted their votes, and essentially they said none of those votes matter anymore.
You know what I would love to see?
New election, and people won't even know what their districting is because the gerrymandering is done quietly,
and that's going to reduce participation in the political process. But that will impact both black and white voters.
And this is why a lot of people are saying that this may be a shot in the foot, but I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it.
The shot in the foot, you mean it might hurt the Republicans more than the Democrats? It could. Look at the farmers. They're pissed off at Trump right now. But those are the states where he's got support anyway.
Them is the next set of people. Am I supposed to feel sorry for them bitches? No, because I don't. Because they again voted against their own self-interest. But that's a whole other conversation. Welcome back to Daddy and Son, a weekly podcast where we talk about mess from a multi-generational point of view. My name is Alex.
And I'm Norman. And it's funny how we always get into American politics right away, isn't it? I mean, it just preoccupies all the time.
Well, here's the thing. I think American politics is Canadian politics, and Canadian politics is American politics. And anybody with half a brain who watches the news today will see the intersectionality and see how deeply intertwined it is. The moment that we have Canadian politicians going on Joe Rogan Experience and doing whole podcasts, you know that the politics is intertwined. America is not, United States is United States, but America is Mexico, Canada, and the US. And our politics are deeply intertwined. So,
well,
that's my point of view.
I would parse that in terms of issues. I mean, certain issues, yes, but boy, they don't have the indigenous problem that we have in terms of duty to consult. That's a whole dimension they don't even deal with.
Well, yeah, because they've basically said that the indigenous people of the United States don't have no rights. Duh.
They don't have the same proportion. They're also a much larger proportion in a concentrated area in resource-rich provinces here. Like
And when we
BC.
had Confederacy, we also signed the Queen Victoria also signed a treaty with the indigenous population here. Meanwhile, in the United
sign one.
States, they didn't have any
yeah.
treaties with them.
So
they
our courts have
basically
upheld those treaties. That's what they've got here. But what I was going to say is, I want to say this, I said it offline, but I say it for everybody. 3 years ago, this weekend, which is Victoria Day, the long weekend, we call it Victoria Day weekend here
this is
in Canada.
Queen Victoria's birthday.
Yeah, this is the day. Is it actually today, or was it the 24th of May?
It's
the 24th of May, right?
24th, yeah.
So, but this is the weekend we celebrate. You and I sat down, we had a nice lunch out in the Queen West, and we
I can't
concocted the idea.
believe it.
I know, I was still working full time in those days.
And look at you now.
I had a paycheck. I don't anymore. Oh, well.
By the way, are you enjoying today's cocktail?
It's very nice. I love the mint. And do I taste some ginger in there as well?
There is some ginger in there. So this is a ginger mama juana.
Juana?
It's a drink from Dominican Republic with fresh mint inside of it. I added the fresh mint as a touch, and the ginger as well. Kind of like a Mama Juana Moscow
Mojito.
Mule.
It's almost a mojito.
Mojito hybrid.
Yeah.
Like all of those things combined. I was talking to Luis today, who is in Spain, and sharing with me some of the cocktails that he was drinking. So I said, I am going to have a cocktail today, kind of like a cheers to you. It's Queen Victoria's birthday weekend, so cheers to her as well. And it's our 3-year anniversary, so cheers to us as well.
There it is.
There
Daddy
it
and
is.
son.
Whoop, there it is. Daddy and son. How are you doing? How was your week? Are you ready for Argentina?
Sí, señor. Sí, señor.
I am excited for you. I also, my Argentina trip is in August.
También Uruguay. I'm going to Uruguay first.
Mm-hmm.
Sí.
Mm-hmm.
You will have fun.
I thought you were going to Panama as
I
well.
fly through Panama.
Okay.
Yeah, can change planes there.
Uruguay or Uruguay?
Uruguay.
Uruguay.
Yeah, Uruguay. Montevideo.
I
Voy a
can't-
Montevideo via
What did you say
Panama
to me
City.
last week? Did you say monarch or monarch? What did you say? Monarch?
Monarch? Netanyahu. Don't you get me doing that.
I'm still laughing
You know,
about
I
that
heard-
to this day.
I practiced it this week because I heard somebody on the news saying, "Oh, that's it, Netanyahu." I don't know why I can't. Oh, if I look at you, I can. If I look away from you, I can.
Not
say
you
it.
making fun. Oh, that is sweet. That is lovely. That is cute. Yeah, I am. I'm looking forward to mine in August. So I'm going through Panama as well, but I'm also going to be back in Panama for 5 additional days before I go to Medellin, and from Colombia, then I come back to Toronto.
You're able to travel for such long periods of time. I had 2 meetings this week, both at Queen's
I know
Park.
I'll be gone for a month and a half.
Yeah, I mean, when you got to go and meet chiefs of staff to cabinet ministers, you've got to be here in town to go see them.
I guess.
Yeah, you got to be prepared. But those are the kind of things I have to be here for. Hello, I'm going to try to steal away. Now that I'm getting a little bit further into this role, take a couple of weeks and take my laptop with me like you do, and we'll, I'll become a little bit more like a sun traveler,
a digital
sun
nomad.
traveler, a sun traveler. That's SON.
How useful
traveler.
are those meetings with those chief of staff or those cabinet chief of staff? How useful do you say those meetings are? That ginger hitting name.
Yeah, sorry about that, Flo. Absolutely. You got to be talking to the political people.
I didn't ask you that. I asked you how useful they are.
They are very useful because
Yeah.
you get an idea of. First of all, you get a chance. This is lobbying. You got a chance to put your view down.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what their issues are better. We got some very good intelligence about an announcement that's coming next month.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows your paymasters that you're doing something for them.
Allegedly.
Well, as long as they keep paying you, that's good enough.
Okay. Well,
Oh, I just realized this is now public information, isn't it? Oh well, I'm not worried. Trust me.
I'm a strong disbeliever in lobbyist money, PAC money, etc. But that's my belief. I'm more of a grassroots kind of guy. I admire Obama for being that kind of guy. Never took PAC money, never took lobbyist money. That's why.
Wait a minute. He might not have taken it personally, but his organization needed lots of money to get the word out and hire
they
people.
were all grassroots money. They were all mom and pops. Young people who were invigorated by him, offering $5, $10, $20, whatever they could, even up to
That's
5
fine.
cents. And I admire that.
That's good. What's what we have in Canada, pretty much.
And I really admire that's not true.
You can't get
we
more than
all
1,500.
know that PP.
Listen, there's limits
we
to
all
what
know
you
that
can control.
PP is ruled by donor funding.
PP.
Pierre Polyev.
Oh, look. Every party look, at least we have the same rules here. It's not like the United States where you can buy your way in. Here it's like salary cap thing. Every individual has a limit to what they can give to an individual candidate and to the party. Bingo.
And the side businesses and trusts that they have in place before they went into party that they don't have to de facto, those don't count, do they?
What are you saying? What doesn't count?
The family businesses and the side businesses.
You put those in trust. You put those
exactly.
in trust.
And
well, that's the rule. Well, that's good. That means you're away from that, and somebody else is running it for you. That's good public governance. It is. Those are best practices. That
I'm
way
not saying it's not a best practice. I'm saying it doesn't make a difference. If they're using the government as an insider trading mechanism to further their businesses.
Well, I don't think that's why most people are in politics, at least not in this country. Maybe Mr. Trump does that to some of his friends.
Are you going to sit there and look me in the eye?
I know politicians who got in. They don't.
Let me finish my
make
sentence. You're going to sit there and look me in the eye and tell me that
I can't see your eyes because your sunglasses are hiding them.
And believe that Doug Ford does not use the office of the premier to further his business.
He's making everybody else rich, from what I can see. But let's just talk about the average MP or MPP.
I'm glad that you brought that up because you know what? I actually do have a whole podcast that I have lined out talking about the history of Doug Ford, his reign in office, and why we need to get him out, and all his side businesses, including how he benefited from the pandemic. But that's a podcast for another time. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because I love to see Daddy eat crow.
Listen, eating crow, I don't eat crow for something like that. I mean, I don't know what Doug Ford's finances are. I don't know what anybody's are. We're all struggling in this province right now.
That's kind of convenient, isn't it?
What's convenient?
Oh, I don't know anything about his finances.
Well, you think you do. You don't know anything either.
Well, that's what Freedom of the Information Act was there for.
No, fine.
Or is there for.
At the door?
No, that's the table rocking.
Okay.
That's what that is there for, thankfully. Well, we still live in a democracy.
What were we going to talk about today? You want to talk about wellness. Wellness? Wellness of what?
Is that you being dismissive?
No, I'm trying to get us on topic.
Well, I am on topic.
How's that on topic?
Okay. Anyhow,
the wellness of the political system.
The audience can make up their minds for themselves. But since you so rudely and disrespectfully cut me off. So I kind of wanted to have today in my whole production kind of have like a mixture of hot topics, but I also wanted to touch on a tiny mini wellness segment, and that's because I think I did mention to you last week that I was mattress shopping. And,
right.
One thing that I learned from my previous CEO, Elliot Noss.
Elliot Ness?
Nos.
Nos, okay.
He is a previous CEO for the company that I work with. And this guy, he would drive a Prius where the side view mirror is taped on by duct tape.
He was a low budget shopper, in other words.
But lived in a very nice mansion.
Oh.
And
Well, you have to economize on something.
his philosophy was that I would rather drive a vehicle till the wheels fall off, but spend top dollars on my furniture and my bedding, because my sleep is the most important thing to my factor to my health.
You spent a third of your life on it.
And he said that too in a town hall. He said, I spend majority of my day in my bed. And
I would have thought he would have said, I spend the majority of a night in my bed, but anyway.
because he brought up the fact that people need 8 to 12 hours of sleep on average, which science has now proven that we actually do need a minimum of 9 hours, or if you're a female, 10 to 11 hours sleep. This came out in some sleep research that came out just in 2025, actually.
Well, I must be sleep
In the
deprived.
past, they used to say 8 hours, and we have to understand that a lot of these research that was done medically were only included men. Women weren't included in these scientific research, and most of them included people who were veterans
Can I ask
or
a question?
soldiers.
Does it have to be all at the same time? Because Norman here spends some of it in one room, and depending on what's on TV, some of it in another room.
That is a good question. The idea of the study, from what I read, or what I remember that I read last year, is that you hit your best REM between on your 6th hour to your 8th hour of sleep.
Well, I guess I don't get that far.
So yeah,
6 hours. I barely get 6 hours of sleep in most nights.
It's interesting, and when you think about like your overall wellness, not just the bedding that you have, your sleep unlocks a lot of different things in your body. Whether that's
it's amazing.
regulation of cholesterol, brain hormones.
Our bodies are busy at night.
Yeah,
Aren't they?
a lot of regeneration, healing, thermogenics.
The human body is amazing. It's an amazing creation when you think.
Regulating sugar, a lot of things, stress hormones.
It goes on in the brain too.
Yeah. So I think that I'm off that age where it's time for me to drop even more money on my sleep. And so
I would say get the best mattress you can afford.
I'm giving myself a really decent budget, but I also want to shop responsibly and ethically. And so
what to you is ethical shopping? That's a phrase I haven't heard before.
well, I'm glad you asked.
Okay.
Shopping local.
Even though you may be buying something that it came from overseas, but you buy it here. Is that what you mean? Or buying a Canadian produced product?
A Canadian produced product. Okay. Not from a local supplier, not a local business, but a local business that is manufactured here, hire Canadian staff, sources material sustainably, where majority of the material is from Canada. Whether it's recycled material or sustainably sourced cotton, silk, whatever it is that they may use, fibers from a different country, but again, it's sustainably sourced, meaning that the people that their suppliers are there's fair trade involved. Their workers are being paid.
You are a wonderful idealist. So what have you found out of this?
It's not an idea.
Well, idealist. You're an idealist on this. I mean, you want the perfect thing. Have you found anything that fits those criteria?
Well, yes.
Wow.
I have.
But it took a lot of work getting there, didn't it?
It did take a lot of work.
Because I wouldn't do all that work.
It did take a lot of work. But you know what? Doing the right thing is not always going to be easy. It's simple to do,
Well, you'll get a bit more
but it's
sleep.
not always going to be easy.
Well, you'll need more sleep as a result. You know what I want? I want a good price and a good feel to it when I lie down on it. And I don't care if it's made. No, it's got to be made of the right material, but I don't care where it's made.
Well, my criteria. When was the last time? Well, let me ask you. When was the last time you bought a mattress?
It was during COVID. I believe it was 21.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so fairly recent.
Yeah.
What were your criterias?
Well, I got lucky because I wanted something very similar to what I had, which is a nice big plush queen mattress, and I found more or less the same thing, and it was on sale.
Sealy?
I think so. Sealy or the other one, whatever those other, I forget the name of the other type of.
Because you told me you bought yours from Sleep Country, Canada.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I think for me, I'm looking at a bunch of different criterias. A is I'm a tall guy, right? So I need something that have a few extra inches on it, even though it's a queen. And they do have beds that have that, both length and width.
I always like a few extra inches on a queen.
Can't with you.
Sorry, I couldn't
I'm
resist
a
that
practicing
one.
homosexual, so I need a bed that is firm enough that can withstand time if two
Certain
adult
rattling.
men or maybe more, you never know,
Well, you do have parties from time to time.
are on the bed. Like I need that extra oomph, the extra firmness to it to handle, multiple grown men on the bed.
And a good frame. You need a good frame. The mattress is not the only part of that one.
I'm looking for something that has good lumbar support.
Yeah.
And also because I run hot because of all my different health issues, primarily my leukemia, because I run so hot, and especially at night, when I have my cold sweats, I need a mattress that's cooling. So I'm looking at all these various factors.
That's one I
thermal.
would never have thought of the cooling thing. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was even something to consider. So
my God.
You've done your research. That's for
Mattress
sure.
technology has gone. It's next level.
Yeah.
It's next. They have mattresses that now can bend.
Mattresses.
Mattresses.
Mattresses
is already plural. Never mind.
You pronounce mattresses the way I pronounce Netanyahu.
Oh, look, you got it. Oh, good for you.
Not quite. I blew the last phrase, but anyway. So carry on. Yeah.
Or stuff like I've been seeing some that are completely foam, some that are foam with coils. They call them hybrids. I prefer more of a hybrid because they are known to last longer. Also, while the hybrids one cannot be flipped, like you can't flip it,
Yeah, mine can't either.
you can't flip it up and down.
Yeah.
They do have much longer lasting support. And also, another thing that I've been looking into is that if you're sleeping with multiple people on your bed, you also want to make sure that you have undisturbed comfort, meaning that if someone leaves the bed, get up in the middle of the night to go pee, especially at your age, that's something that's a common action. You want to make sure that
Well, it's just me that's getting in and out of the
the
bed.
son that
so.
you're sleeping with is not disturbed by you getting up to go pee 6 times in the night.
Oh, well. We don't have to worry about that for a lot of reasons. Number one, I don't go that often, and B, there's nobody else beside me because I take up both sides of the bed.
For now. For
good.
We're manifesting a nice little cabana boy for you for the summer. We're manifesting a nice son for you to help keep the bed warm. We're manifesting it all. Opulence.
Keeping my
all
bed
is
warm.
yours.
Keeping
You
my
have
bed
it all.
Keeping my bed warm is not a problem in the summer in a building that doesn't have air conditioning built in. Trust me.
So I'm looking at all these things, and I'm also looking at bedding.
And now, so have we made a decision on the mattress, or have we got a price range? I haven't heard you talk about price range yet.
Well, here's the thing. I am willing to throw upwards of $3,000 to this.
That would be that's a big That's a big expenditure but you know what? With inflation and everything, that's probably what I would think would be the cost. You could get $500 off if you had a sale, but yeah, I paid $2,000 5 years ago.
Yeah, I am
on sale.
I want to make sure that, and even if it ends up being a little bit more, maybe say $1,000 more, I'll still bite, because if it's the best sleep I'll ever have, I will do it. With that being said, going into a store and just laying on it for a 5-minute period, bouncing up and down, I don't think that is enough for me. So one of my criteria also is that I'm looking at sites that will do free returns and upwards of 360-day trials.
Sleep Country's pretty good on that. Some of that.
They do up to 1-year trials.
Oh, do they? That's amazing.
I'm asking because a lot of the companies the Canadian companies that I've been looking at, they do 1-year trials. Douglas does a 1-year trial. Tuft and Needle does a 1-year trial. Casper has a 90-day trial, not a 1-year trial. But I believe that having somewhat of a trial sleep, not just going into the store and bouncing up and down on it and lying down on it for a few minutes, it's not enough, because you need to have at least a whole night, at least a whole week sleeping on that bed. Getting up, seeing how you feel. Are you stiff? Is your neck cracked? Can you bend down and touch your toes? That kind of thing. When you get up, it matters. Like, I don't think it's enough to just go into the store and lay on the bed. So for me, that's one of my criteria as well. You have to meet these criterion, and if you don't, including having a trial, it's a non-starter for me. Completely.
Yeah.
So
I've never done that though. I think I bought one where I had that option, but I could get used to this. You're very.
You seen maybe, but you got lucky. You got lucky.
I tend to. Well, I guess I started at the top of the chain in terms of quality and comfort, and
from a retailer perspective.
Yeah, from what I wanted, it had to be. I started I'm a third of my life there. This has got to be good. I'm going to have to spend a lot of money on this. Mm-hmm. So, and you know what? That's worked out. So, bingo. We have.
For me, the other aspect of this is, and I know I know your bed. I've not the new one, but your older bed, and I know that you spend money on at least a proper mattress, a proper sleep.
Now, don't get into TMI and for territory here.
I've been to Chez Cheeseman before. Multiple times. Nice.
Well,
home.
A decade ago, yes.
A humble abode.
Very, very humble. This is you live in style compared to me.
Oh, please.
Oh, yes.
No, oh, please. But another thing that I'm also considering, and this is something that I already do, but I want to step up my game, especially now that I have, I'm gonna get a new mattress, is bedding.
Yes.
So looking at pillows, comforters, sheets, stuff like that.
Good quality stuff. 600 count.
Before, I used to buy a Ted Baker 800 count threading bedding that for a while. I went through a phase where everything had to feel like being in a hotel. So my room was always kept cool. I always had the overhead ceiling fan on. Even in the winter, my bedding was all white. Remember, even like a few months ago, my bedding was all white pillows, white shams. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pillows on my bed. White duvet, goose down, or duck down. Duck.
I have a down. Duvet.
And so I already had been doing that, but I think having expensive bedding on a really old mattress, and I think I did mention the previous podcast that my mattress is like 9 years old. Having like really high quality bedding on an old mattress is like putting premium rims on a Hyundai.
You know, listening to you talk about buying a mattress, if you spend this much time looking for a mattress, you must spend 6 months looking for a car, or a dining room set, or television.
Norm, remember, I'm the type of guy who, before I went to buy my vehicle, I went to the auto show.
Yes.
When I make big purchases, I do thorough research. I don't just jump and go buy
I did the auto show
nicest thing. I do proper research.
I did an auto show in 2014, and I've now on my third Audi.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do thorough research, and I don't commit. I don't have any brand loyalty. So as much as I love my Mustang, I have other vehicles that are, when I'm done with this one, that I have on my lineup that I want to go test. Volvo is one of them. VinFast is one of them.
VinFast?
VinFast. It's the Vietnamese automobile company.
What about BYD? Would you buy a Chinese EV?
I would.
Yeah,
I would.
They look beautiful. I saw some video of them the other day. I thought, wow, these are...
Once they come to Canada, I will be test driving immediately. You hear me? Immediately. Lucid is also on my radar. I actually quite find...
There's a car manufacturer called Lucid?
Yeah, they're the staff, the lead engineers from Tesla that left because of Musk's shenanigans. He started his own company called Lucid. It's based out of California, Silicon Valley. All the cars are EV, and it's quite impressive technology. In fact, I would say even more impressive than Tesla could ever even provide right now. I'm talking about the minimum range is 800
clicks.
800 clicks. You're looking at...
That's 500 miles to U.S. listeners.
It is quite... Gas vehicles, it could give you the range of a gas vehicle twice over.
Wow.
It charges from 0 to 80% in 11 minutes. My vehicle currently takes 11 minutes will only probably give you 10%. So when I talk about impressive technology coming out of Silicon Valley, impressive technology. And so, yeah, I have other things that are on my radar. So I have no brand loyalty. I'm just looking for what is the most effective, the most efficient, and what's the best for the value on the market right now.
That's very expedient and very efficient and very smart.
Thank you.
Now, is that a trend? Is that something that younger people are more inclined to do than older folks?
I think so. I'm not.
I think you're right.
And that's not a shade or anything.
No, I think you're right. I think that I don't know whether I'm not as interested in doing all that work for it, or I found what I like, and that's good enough for me kind of attitude.
I think older people are creatures of habits. And
to some extent,
and the younger you are, the more likely you're still trying to find what you like. Yeah, like for me,
that's a good observation. I like that.
I'm still trying to find what I like when it comes on to going right back to bedding. Right, what is it that is needed for my lifestyle, for my
Gluckstein?
For what?
The brand of Gluckstein. They used to sell it at the Bay. That's one of the best qualities bedding you can get in this country. You never heard of it?
No, never.
Add it to your list.
I'll have to add it to my list.
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Gluckstein.
Gluck.
Gluckstein.
Sounds very Jewish.
I'm sure it is.
Gluckstein home. Oh, interesting.
Now there is Daddy pointing out a brand that Son wasn't aware of. Usually it's the other way around, folks, but
Oh, nice.
But why do I know that? Because it was sold at a store. Guess what? I didn't have to get online for it. I knew it was there but remember, my ex used to, that's how I learned about Gluckstein, was my ex, who, was 20 years younger than I was.
Is it Canadian?
Yes.
Under the collection.
Yeah, he's Torontonian.
Created in 1999, the Gluckstein Home Collection includes a stylish bedding, quality bed basics, timeless dinnerware and serveware, luxurious bath towels and accessories, and contemporary furniture and decor for every home. Designed a style sleek customer who values designed for a style sleek customer who values a well-appointed home, which is me, quality materials, and timeless style. The Gluckstein Home Collection is about everyday things in a beautiful way. It doesn't state anything about where it came from. Launched in 2021.
Oh, that's right. There's not enough information there for you to do your due diligence.
Well, I will be doing my due diligence on Gluckstein. In fact, I've bookmarked this right now.
Well, tell me where you can buy it, because now that the bay is closed, I haven't had to buy any new.
They have a
Gluckstein.
website. You can buy it directly from them.
Probably, yeah.
And again, for me, like I said, I tried to cut out the middleman. So like going to like the Brick, Sleep Country, those places, that's how I'll be able to save a couple $100, if not even thousands, because these places have their markup. But if I cut out the middleman and I go directly to the manufacturer, I'm probably guaranteed to get a direct consumer to manufacturer price that will be significantly cheaper.
If they will sell it to you.
If they'll sell it to me, and a lot will. From my research, in fact, Douglas, another Canadian company, I did mention that they have a storefront in Vaughan, but they mostly sell through retailers like Sleep Country and The Brick.
But they have a company store?
But they have a flagship store that recently opened in 2023.
But their prices are probably very, very close to retail.
No, not necessarily.
Well,
in fact, looking online, they have a sale. If you buy directly from them, they have a Victoria Day sale that you can get up to 60% off. But if you buy their mattress and bedding directly through Sleep Country has their own sale that they have going on, but does not stack up cost value wise. The value added to that sale from Sleep Country does not stack up to the value added when I shop directly from Douglas. So I'm gonna peruse that as well as a part of my my look-see.
I'll be interested in your findings in terms of price differential, at least on a normal basis. I mean, you're going to hit sales in different places, but it's like
but that's what I'm talking about. When I say that they have the manufacturers versus the retailers may have different pricings. They may be slightly less than retail, maybe not by much. But again, even if it's $200, $300, that's $300 extra that I can buy a brand new duvet with.
Or an upgrade to business class. Or, well, given where you like to travel, that's probably, that would get you another cup of coffee.
I was literally going to say, to business class in Trump's economy, while gas prices are over $100 a gallon, I don't think so.
That'll give you an aisle seat in economy.
Barrel, I don't think so.
It'll give you an economy class. It'll give you an aisle seat in coach.
Maybe it will get me a bump up to preferred seating, extra leg room. Exactly. But I wouldn't say a bump up to J class. But yeah. So for me, looking at bedding, I used to be in an all-white situation, but now I'm divesting into colors. Mostly, I'm right now into blues.
A man of the rainbow.
All different colors of like hues of blue. And maybe it's the springtime, it's the rain.
Hues of blue. That's what we should call this episode.
Hues of blue?
Yes.
That's exactly what we should call it.
Yes.
Hues
Let's not forget that.
Blue.
Let's not forget that. Hues of blue. We often come up with great ideas for things, and then we forget where we said it. Anyway.
I won't forget this week. Forget this week. But yeah, now I'm into Hues of Blue, and I'm really deeply interested in just again thread count, silk for my pillowcases.
Oh wow!
Or satin, but my preference is silk. And that's just because we spend a lot. I know you spend just as much as I do on facial stuff. I'm more of an ordinary guy. You like Kiehl's.
I use Ordinary too.
You use Ordinary too?
Yeah.
Since when?
Quite a bit. I just went to their store a couple weeks ago and loaded up on my hydrochloric acid and the SP15, which removes signs of aging.
Hydrochloric acid it's not.
Yeah,
I think
you
you're
know what
talking
I mean.
about hyaluronic acid.
Yeah, I have trouble with that word too.
I was like, what?
Netanyahu acid.
That burns through metal.
Hyaluronic acid. That's correct.
Okay.
And do you think it works?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I can tell from you because, again, I think I've told you this multiple times, that you don't look your age. You may feel it, but you don't look what you feel like. And that's a blessing. No, it is.
I don't feel it. Hey, listen, I was out on a bike today. I went to the gym. But, yeah, you feel it in some ways. I know I look older than I used to. Hey, I know that. And,
That's because you're still working. You need to sit down on your yard, retire. Anyways,
not retiring.
But when you use all these expensive serums on your skin, when you go to sleep on like a cotton pillow or even those like nylon, those polymerized materials, what ends up happening is that it pulls out the
Oils from your face?
oils from your face rather than help to just leave it on your skin overnight so it can do what it needs to do, right? It's more absorbent. So you want to use like cotton, 100% cotton. You want to have those for your pillows, not your pillows, your towels, your terry, right? Or your bathrobes, but your bed sheets, especially if you're someone like me who moisturizes, or if not, just if you don't like this feeling of satin or silk on your skin, but at least for your pillow that you sleep on and you lay your head on, you definitely want to make sure that you're using satin or silk, because that's what's going to help to lock in the moisture of those serums. And if you're a female, we do have female listeners that listen to the show. You're here. All those serums you're putting in your hair, the oils, the moisturizers, if you want to lock those in so you have less frizzy hair, less breakage, if you have color treated hair, you definitely want to be using a silk pillowcase.
I've never had a silk or satin pillowcase. I've just 100% cotton. But you know what?
Daddy, you need to get locked in.
No, but look, when I put stuff on my face at night before going to bed, I usually lay on my back, either on the couch for half an hour I let the stuff absorb into my skin and I think that once it's inside the skin,
most of this stuff though, Norm, it takes at least 8 hours to really get full.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially when you start looking at peptides and amino acids, it's not something that's going to happen over a short period of time. Think of it like your sunscreen. Your sunscreen is something that can, most sunscreen today, the technology is designed to carry you throughout the day, to prevent sunblock. But typically, they say if you're in deep sun exposure, like direct sun exposure, like every 3 hours, you want to reapply. Pretty much it's the same thing here. If you are applying it to your face, and you're applying it to your face as something that you want to use to assist in regeneration, in plumpness, in reducing redness, etc. I promise you, if you use a silk pillowcase where it does not take away the moisture, it does not take away the application from you, but helps to promote the absorption inside of the skin rather than reverse, you will start seeing within less than 2 weeks. I guarantee you will see a difference in your skin.
I should try that.
I guarantee it.
What kind of brands would you get silk pillowcases? Where would you buy that stuff?
Well, I'm not going to speak to any brands because right now I'm not being sponsored. But what I will speak to as it relates to silk pillowcases or satin pillowcases is that you want to make sure that, because a lot of them, they're particularly small or a standard size. If you know that you have oversized pillows like I do, like really fluffy ones, that because I use feather pillows, you for cooling purposes, because they aerate better. The feather pillows, you want to make sure that you get one that is slightly oversized. That would be my recommendation to you. And you can pretty much buy them anywhere. I get mine from Sally Beauty or Clore.
I've never heard of those places.
It's a black beauty store. It's a black owned beauty store that's right here down on Jarvis Street, just back right. You know where the parking lot for St. Lawrence Market is, the new building.
Yeah.
Right across from, literally as you're exiting the parking lot, the Green Pea, and you look across, you'll see Clore's. Again, a black-owned, African immigrant-owned business.
And they sell not pillowcases. This is a skincare product.
They sell the pillowcases.
Oh, pillowcases.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay.
They sell hair care products predominantly. They do have some skincare products, usually K-beauty
I've
stuff.
never thought of the two together, but it's interesting. I mean, I'm going to try that and see if it works.
Highly recommend. You can also find really decent ones off Amazon as well. But again, I support local businesses. So my suggestion to you would be to go over, especially since you love to go over to the market. After you see Sandra, just walk over to Clore's and tell them that Alex sent you.
I don't think they're open the time I'm down at the market, but anyway.
Probably not. They're not open at 6 a.m. in the morning. No.
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock.
But I highly recommend them. Highly recommend having a silk pillowcase. And so I'm 2026. I'm on a journey to step up that's why I cut my hair off, to shave my head off.
You're on a wellness kick.
I'm on my wellness kick. I'm on my wellness journey. I'm regrowing my hair. So I'm going through a hair journey. So I'm doing all the things, all the serums that is for hair growth. I'll talk about that in another podcast, what I'm doing for that, for natural hair growth. And I'm doing all the things to improve my sleep, which is kind of what I want to stick on today. The things that are improving my sleep and all the things that goes with that, whether that is improved skincare, improved mental health, improved renal health, improved cholesterol, all the things that goes with having better sleep. It does start with having a good mattress and really, really, really comfortable bedding. If there's not, and while I'm finishing up on this, I want to say there's nothing more unattractive than going to hook up with a guy and they have a flat pillow. I remember once, a couple years ago, there was this guy I was dating. I really, really liked him, Norm. I really liked him. And then I went to his home and he had no duvet. He just had, he had just a blanket and a fitted sheet, no flat sheet. No flat sheet at all, just a fitted sheet and a blanket, and the pillow was so flat, like there was no support for your head, and it was the biggest turn off for me. And this was a guy who was very Bay Street, wore really nice suits, looked very good. I love a suit. A man in a suit makes me wet, moist, even.
TMI again, folks.
And so for me, this was such a turn off. Nothing is more of a turn off. And I know a lot of the guys, the queens, especially the women listening to this podcast, can attest to it. Like nothing's more of a turn off than going to a guy's home who is a big grown adult and having shitty bedding. Don't be that guy. Step up your bedding game, gents.
And especially a queen size bed that doesn't have a few extra inches.
I'm just saying, think about the activities that you do in bed and accommodate for them accordingly. So, yeah.
I read, pray,
read
sleep.
and pray. So exactly. So for you need a short bed that you can put your arms up and pray. When you kneel down, for me, I like a high bed, 14 inches or higher. So for me,
We both have those high beds.
You have a high bed?
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you do have a high bed. I love. There's a reason why they say you climb into bed.
Yeah.
Nobody ever says, "Oh, I fall into bed." They say you climb into bed.
Yeah.
So your bed. Listen, I'm spreading awareness of. Think of this as it's springtime, right? Mm-hmm. We all talk about spring cleaning. We did a spring cleaning episode last year. We talked about cleaning out your contacts, cleaning out your closet,
Yes.
and getting your life in order, shuffling rotating your clothes
Getting rid
from
of stuff you
winter
don't
to
need.
your summer clothes. Exactly. Remember, we spoke about this last year. I just want to continue that trend for springtime. And this time, it's not direct cleaning, but
It's wellness. It's organization. It's being
exactly
it's being,
organizing your life.
Yeah, and the more organized you are, the more content you are.
I agree.
Less stress.
You will feel it. You
Yeah.
will definitely feel it.
Yeah.
So,
Do you think I'm an organized person?
I think that you have concepts of organization.
Concepts of a plan. Where have I heard that one before? Oh, well,
So
that's a Trumpian answer, I'll call it.
that's
And it's also not a compliment. I'll take it. Will not take that as a compliment.
you won't? No. Okay. I think it's a compliment.
I think I'm organized in some respects, but I think in the wellness, home management, I could be better organized.
Are those one of those areas in which you miss your ex-husband? You didn't mention that he managed most of these things for you.
Well, he organized everything, and I had to fall into line.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
And provide a credit card too, I bet. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying.
It was so long ago now. God, it was 13 years ago. We've been apart 13 years, isn't it? This month, almost last week. Yeah, it was really weird.
I'm telling you, time flies when
does.
you're having fun, taking care of yourself,
Well.
and growing into your own individualism.
The first couple of years after splitting up weren't fun, but, I mean...
Yeah, that's grief.
But I learned a lot from that relationship. I learned a lot of home management stuff and cooking stuff that I'm glad I have it now.
And yet still, the
I've learned
chicken still comes out white.
I've learned stuff from you too. And
I
we've never
appreciate-
lived together, but I've known you long enough to know, hey, you like what he does there. Bingo.
Over a decade. We've known each other for over a decade. That's crazy.
Since 2014.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Yes, that's 12 years. That is 12
but,
years.
ever since I was just a little lad, just, wee tall. So, yeah, love you, Daddy.
Love you too, son.
So, with that being said, I'm going to close out on that wellness segment. Get you a decent bed, ladies and gentlemen. Daddy's listening to this show. If you are looking for a son and he comes over and that pillow is flat, womp womp womp. Nobody's interested, unattractive. Before we go, I just want to address one last thing. To Beanie Shapiro, aka Tim Pool, Matt Walsh, the folks over the Daily Wire, Ian Miller and Elon Musk. Shut up. Speak to what you know about and stay in your lane. How is it that you are running a $1 trillion company and you have time to be tweeting about Lupita Nyong'o? And if you don't know about this,
I don't.
so there's a new movie coming out by what's his name again? He directed Interstellar and Inception.
I'm culturally ignorant.
So there's a movie coming out that is called The Odyssey, based off the classic novel that depicts a bunch of different Greek gods in mythology.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to line up to go see it, but I'll take your word for it.
Well, I will, because The Odyssey is one of those books that I read in school. That I have deep interest in seeing a live action adaptation of it, and it's star-studded. I'm talking about Matt Damon, Elliot Page, Lupita Nyong'o, Anne Hathaway, Zendaya, Tom Holland. It is Jude Law. it is quite star-studded in terms of the casting. So I don't think it's going to be a bad movie. But the right is losing their minds. They're saying that liberals are crazy and that the left is insane because he's pandering. The director is pandering to what's his name again? It's bothering me now. Let me look it up.
I don't pay any attention to movies anymore. Although I was aware that The Devil Wears Prada 2 is coming out.
I feel Christopher Nolan. That's the director's name. Also, I feel so sad for you that you're so out of touch, but that's okay. That's why we have these conversations.
Well, I used to be very much into movies, but the movies are crap now compared to what they were 10 or 15 years ago. They're all manufactured technology and AI, and they're not real.
You sound like an old man.
I sound like a person that wants to have reality in front of me.
I guess. Well,
real drama.
You don't have to go to the movies, but for the rest of us normies that enjoy the movies still and enjoys television,
I like television.
For the rest of us,
I like good drama. I like real drama. Real stuff.
Let me tell the tea what's going on. So Tim Pool and Matt Walsh. Again, folks over at the Data Wire were talking about how it is ridiculous that Lupita Nyong'o was casted as Helen of Troy and Achilles, son of Hercules, is casted as Elliot Page, who we all know is a Canadian trans male actor.
Can I ask a daddy question? How important is this?
Cultural shifts, I would say, is very important. Cultural shifts depict how people are perceived in society. It depicts racism. It depicts sexism, misogyny, sexuality.
This movie, Will, is this going to talk about all this stuff, or is it?
You don't know what the Odyssey is about?
No, I can't remember. It was the Odyssey. Is that the Space Odyssey?
Do I need to get a new daddy?
Could be. Or one that took English literature in university, which I didn't do.
Well, you don't have to. It's, for me...
Do I have to get a new son?
For me, cultural relevance is always going to be important because that's the way in which people move. People move based on cultural relevance. So, I don't. I'm not guided by... You're a 72-year-old person who has a decent pension and you're comfortable and you're disassociated from the rest of the world. Yes, you are.
That's irrelevant.
Yes, you are. Because if you weren't...
I'm just not interested in cultural stuff, modern cultural stuff.
Norm.
I like sports.
Two things can exist
politics.
at the same... Two things can exist at the same time, because the rest of us, there's a great amount of people that are unbothered by sports, by the Stanley Cup, by FIFA. There are a great amount of people who are unbothered by that, but do care about cultural influence because
and vice versa.
Hold on,
and vice versa.
Let me finish.
And vice
because
versa.
who wins the World Cup doesn't affect them, but when they're influential people like Matt Walsh and Elon Musk, who literally have the power to go into government and got over 17,000 jobs and over hundreds of millions of dollars in aid money.
That's
let me finish speaking. You asked me a question and I'm answering the question. There are people who actually do care about cultural influence because guess what? These people, like Elon Musk, who will come on and say, oh, this person how is this person doing this? And how is this person...
That's politics.
So who is who is a black person... And then you look at the type of jobs that he goes into the DMV and cut, who affects mostly who? Black women who are sitting in these positions, qualified black women, I might add. Yes, there is a social and cultural impact. So it may not matter to you, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. It just is what it is because, again, you are a white 72-year-old
I'm not
male
going to dispute this.
of a particular generation who is unbothered by these worldly things.
I'm not going to dispute any of this. This is not worth talking about.
Well, I'm not saying
Anyway,
that. I'm not
we
saying
had a good chat tonight, didn't
I'm
we?
not saying it should be disputed or agreed to. I'm just saying what it is.
Right.
So anyway, for other people who want to know, I think it's quite ridiculous since you want to be dismissive. One thing that I will say, though, before I continue speaking about what I was speaking about, if you want to be dismissive about cultural phenomena or cultural events, especially things that affect people's lives directly.
I'm not dismissive. I just
Yes,
don't
you
have
are.
the same relevance to me that it does to other people.
Well,
I've always said I'm culturally ignorant.
and what do friends do, Norm?
I'm culturally ignorant.
Or what do friends do?
What do friends do?
Yes, what do friends do?
Go out and have coffee? Go out and have lunch?
And they have conversations about things that are relevant to them.
Yeah.
Anytime you bring up sports, including hockey, including football, or whatever else that you bring up, have I ever been dismissive to you?
Well, I know
No, it's a yes or no question.
You don't care much about it. Well, I know that.
Have I ever been dismissive about it?
I don't know that you have.
Okay.
I'm not dismissive. You are missing my point. I'm not dismissive about it.
Ladies
I'm
and
not
gentlemen,
interested
if
in
you
it.
don't think that is being dismissive, please leave an old white man emoji in the chats. If you think that he's, if you think that he is not being, if you think that he is or he's, if actually you think that he is being dismissive about cultural phenomenons and shifts. But anyhow, I would just like to say that we talk about things like Queen of Sheba, also known as Belisk, who is from Jewish and Mesopotamian texts. We talk about Aphrodite. We talk about Othello, the Moor. These are all people that are coming from Greek mythology that we know for a fact is influenced by Afro-Oceanic and Near East culture. In fact, the only reason why we know of these people to have white depiction today is after the Renaissance period. When Alexander the Great had invaded Egypt, a lot of the influences of Egyptian culture and their religion practices ended up becoming amalgamated. In fact, there's a word for this in history. The word is called syncretism. Syncretism is actually the word that historians use for this. It's when two cultures merge, particular religious cultures, and you start to see an amalgamation of the two. So the idea that a fictional character who is depicted in Greek mythology has to be a white person is quite ridiculous to me. And for Donald Lewis, also a right-wing commentator that tweeted, "Can't wait to see Sydney Sweeney casted as Dorothy Vaughan in the next reboot of Hidden Figures." Again, you two can shut up and speak to what you know, because Dorothy Vaughan is a real person that is an actual human being. Helena of Troy, not so much. So again, I want to see people stop having these outrage when we have live action depiction of classic novels such as The Odyssey, and they have casting of people of different races and background. First of all, Helena Troy is supposed to be the most beautiful woman in the world. She's the face that launches 1,000 ships. And if you're going to talk about why is it that Lupita Nyong'o is being casted as Helena of Troy, what are you trying to say, that Lupita Nyong'o isn't beautiful? Is that what we're saying? Tell us how you really feel. Matt Walsh, tell us how you really feel. Tim Pool. And I know that there are people who listen to this show who also like Bina Shapiro, aka Tim Pool. This is not shade. This is not me calling you out. This is me saying that you are being misinformed. I actually did take history in high school. And one of the things that I do recognize, and one of the electives that I took when I was at Cambridge, was European history. There are a lot of books out there I'd like to put you guys on. Black Athena. It's a very influential and controversial to the argument of African and Near Eastern influence on Greece. Not Out of Africa by Mary Lackwitz, as well as the Greeks and the Greek civilization by Jacob Burckhardt. He talks about how he's a well-respected historian, that his work talks about how the Africans and the Greek and the Black Egyptians were heavily influenced into Greek mythology. And let's not forget, before Greek mythology was ever a thing, there was the Jewish culture, the Mesopotamians, and the ancient Egyptian culture that existed long before that. And again, just as how through time we had, like I said, Belkis, who was first depicted as the goddess of lust and love, and then that turned into Aphrodite, and then that turned into Venus later in Roman mythology. Names of things do change over time, as well as, again, modern depictions which may change or apply an ethnicity to something. So again, educate yourself before you come online and make an idiot of yourself. With that being said, do you have any final words?
None on this side.
Well, thank you for listening to today's episode. If you made it all the way to the end, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Daddy and Son Podcast. Remember that we are also available on iHeartRadio, so go download the free iHeartRadio app and support the show. If you have any questions, send them over to daddyandsonpodcast@gmail.com. That is DADDYANDSON podcast@gmail.com. Until next time, son, be good to your daddies.
Daddies, be kind to your sons.
Emphasis on the kindness.